Hey everyone, my name is Amanda. If you're new here, welcome. And if you aren't new here, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I clean with my toddler. So I'm going to share with you just some tips and tricks that work for me personally. I hope this video encourages you and that you find some useful tips from it. And just know I'm not coming from a place of authority at all. I have one toddler. And I'm pregnant, but I'm definitely still figuring things out. And I'm not saying that I have all the tips or all the knowledge at all, but these are just tips that I picked up from other mamas that have worked well for me, things I've read in books, things I've maybe gathered from like online courses, all that kind of stuff. So I hope that these tips are fruitful to you as well. And let's hop into the video. Okay, the first thing that helps me clean with a toddler is remembering why I'm a homemaker. So your homemaking mindset really matters. Knowing the motivation of why you're at home, cleaning your house, taking care of your kids, whether you work outside the home and you also are the homemaker when you're home, or if homemaking is your primary thing, like it's the thing that you're doing. Both are very valuable, but both you need to know your why behind those things. So my homemaking why is homemaking is my ministry. It's the role God has called me into, and I'm doing it to raise up my family, raise up disciples, serve my husband, serve the Lord. So those are my whys, and remembering those things, focusing in on those things is so important, because it's not always about having the cleanest, most tidy home. If you remember why you are doing your role as a homemaker and your reasons, then sometimes maybe the most important thing isn't dusting right now, or it's not doing this if your toddler is like having a hard day or something. So knowing your why is super important, so you can assess the situation and assess how your children are doing it, and knowing if your needs, like if you've already met all your husband's like 3 priorities in the home, or whatever the list that you guys decide on that you'll really try to tackle. If you've met those things, maybe whatever task you want to get done isn't the most important thing to get done right now. Maybe it's actually feeding into your littles' hearts, or spending time in the Word, or, spending time in the Word with your kids, or whatever. So know your why behind homemaking and assess each situation just appropriately. If your kids are having a really hard day and they just need some extra time with you, maybe the best thing you can do for the Lord, your husband, and your children, the best way you can serve all of them is by spending time with your kids and just really pouring into them. And maybe it's not. Maybe it's, your husband really cares when he gets home that one certain area of the house is like tidy. Like maybe things are just picked up, so there's not a ton of clutter. Maybe that's like something that really serves your husband. Thus, you're serving the Lord by serving your husband. So maybe you need to prioritize that, even if your kids are freaking out for a minute, and then give your kids a ton of attention after. But that's my number one tip, is know your why behind homemaking, so you can assess what really needs to be done. What's going to be the most proactive and fulfilling thing to what you're trying to accomplish behind your goal. Is your homemaking goal just to have a clean, tidy home, or is your homemaking goal to raise disciples of the Lord, to serve your husband, and to serve the Lord? So that's my number one tip. And then we'll get into some practical tips on when you are cleaning, ways you can entertain your kids, and that kind of stuff. Okay, my second tip to cleaning with toddlers is just start doing it. A lot of cleaning things we can put off because of the training of teaching your kids not to touch certain things and all that kind of stuff. But in order to train them not to do those things, we have to actually do it while they're awake and while they're around, and we can teach them not to touch those things. So there's certain areas that for a long time I put off with my son, and I would clean while he was sleeping. Mopping the floors and bathrooms were the 2 things that like those were just easy to do while he was sleeping. And for a while, before they really do understand the concept of yes and no and training and those kind of things, for the first year, those are things that are just easier when they're napping, because it's not going to be super effective to teach them before then. I mean, maybe kids understand faster than you think, but for me, it was the first year I didn't even try. But after a while, you can slowly start training them in those things and start cleaning when they're awake, because ideally, their nap times, their sleeping times are times for you to fill yourself up and have time in the Word, have time with your husband, have time to rest, whatever, time to do hobbies, those kind of things. So if you can get sleeping not to be cleaning time, that's great. So now when I mop, my son will sometimes do blanket time. I still sometimes mop when he's sleeping because that is easiest. Blanket time still requires a little bit of teaching and all those kind of things. I'm starting to incorporate mopping while he's awake and he does blanket time. And then just every once in a while, I'll have to lead him back to his blanket to play with his toys, eat his snacks, whatever. And I can do a whole separate video on blanket time if you guys are interested. And then for bathrooms, what I've started doing is cleaning the bathrooms, one of the bathrooms or two of the bathrooms while he's awake, and then I'll finish the other one while he's sleeping. But if it's in his bathroom, he can take a bath while I clean the toilet and the sinks, and then I can still watch him and he's safe. And then if I'm cleaning our bathroom, he can be in the shower and I can tidy up our bathroom, do all those things, and he's in the shower and I'm keeping an eye on him. So that's a way that's really easy, because bathroom has tons of, you have all the sprays and stuff. And so that can be a little stressful. My sprays aren't toxic, but I wouldn't say that they're things that I want him ingesting. I mean, they're essential oils that probably shouldn't be ingested all the time. So, they're not you don't want to ingest essential oils. So they have essential oils and that kind of stuff. And I wouldn't want him eating my bathroom cleaning products. So we're easing into it by him taking a bath or shower. The majority of the time I'm cleaning if he's in the room with me. Those are ways that I clean kind of the harder areas, I would say, to clean with a toddler. But yeah, whatever the area that you have a hard time cleaning with your toddler, or that you're stressed about cleaning with your toddler, you kind of just got to start doing it and start teaching them. Otherwise it's going to be hard for probably until they're 5 or 6 and they're not interested in, exploring everything with their mouth or spraying everything or those kind of things. When they just have that self-control, automatically built in, and they're not in that stage of curiosity, you're going to have to wait several years. So if you want to have this free time during their naps and sleeping hours, then you kind of just got to start cleaning, once you can start teaching them, and they do start to get better at it. So there's hope. They get better and they will listen after time. It just takes time and patience, and it's going to take longer to clean with them than when they're sleeping, but eventually it will pay off. Okay, my third tip is to not have a time frame. This is super, super helpful when your kids want to participate in cleaning with you. And I think it's really, really awesome to embrace having them help you, even if it slows you down, if it's a little bit of an annoyance. Again, this kind of goes back to what is your motivation behind homemaking. And if it's not just having a clean home, then it's important to embrace them wanting to help you, even if them helping you actually is not helping, if it's an inconvenience, and it takes more time. So don't have a time frame on your cleaning on the days that you can. So obviously there's going to be days when you have guests coming over, or, so obviously there's going to be days when you have guests coming over, or maybe a deadline or something, you just have to get it done. And so you have to rush through it. But on a day-to-day basis, try not to have a timeline when you're cleaning. Just go with the flow and embrace your kids wanting to help. My son's really into holding onto the vacuum with me right now. And that basically makes it take like twice as long, but it's so adorable. I love that he's trying to help, and I just embrace it. Like, if I don't have people coming over and I'm not in a hurry, then I'm not going to act like I'm in a hurry. My main goal in homemaking is serving my family, and I think it's really serving him by just letting cleaning time be a time where it's not just about cleaning, but it's about our relationship building, teaching him, allowing him to explore those types of things. So if he wants to hold on to the vacuum with me and I have to go twice as slow and I maybe miss a couple spots, it's okay. It's not the end of the world, and he enjoys himself. He's entertained because he's helping mama. So it's like a win-win. So yeah, my son knows that when I'm cleaning, he can come clean with me. If I'm folding laundry, he can hop up on the bed, and most of the time he just ends up throwing clothes off the bed while I'm folding some, and I put the piles that I already folded away from him so he can't throw those ones. But if he throws the clothes that I haven't folded yet, I really could care less. He also knows where our sock drawers are, so I will hand him socks and he can sort those if he wants to. So he has free reins when I'm cleaning to help me, unless it's like mopping, like I mentioned earlier, because footprints or, the chemical things that you want them to stay out of, those things you have to teach them not to. But if it's anything that he can help, even if it's an inconvenience, but it's not going to hurt him, he's not going to ingest anything he shouldn't, he can help me by all means, even if helping me isn't actually helping me. I'm not in a rush. I'm just getting things done at our own pace, and we're having fun together. Okay, I lost track of whatever tip number I'm on, but my next tip is to let them leave the room and play in a safe spot if they want to. So my house is really well baby-proof. There's not drawers or cabinets that I'm worried about my son getting into. So while I'm cleaning, he kind of has free range to roam. There are areas that he knows he's not supposed to get into, like the dog bowls and cat bowls. And sometimes he will get into those, and then he has to, get a timeout or something. But I can listen for those. And if he gets into them, it's not the end of the world. It's just kind of gross. Like, I don't want him playing with those things. But there's not like chemicals or anything like that. Like, the cabinets are all locked, and he can't get into anything that would be like disastrous if he got into it. So when I'm cleaning, if he decides to go outside of the room, then I'll just turn off my music or podcast, and he can have free roam in the house, and I can keep cleaning wherever I am. And we have baby gates, so he can't go like upstairs, downstairs. He stays on the same level with me. And yeah, I don't mind if he doesn't want to hang out with me while I'm cleaning, but he wants to self-entertain himself. That is completely fine. So yeah, I would just say maybe another tip would be to have an area that if they don't want to hang out with you while you're cleaning, you can keep them in, whether that's their room and you shut the door because that's like the baby-proofed area, and you have your baby monitor with you so you can watch them, make sure that they're like happy and not freaking out, that kind of thing. Or if your house is well baby-proofed, and you can also just like leave your doors open and let them roam around and listen for them. Whatever you want to do, but let them self-entertain. If they don't want to hang out, don't have the pressure that they have to be right next to you. It's really nice that we do have things like baby monitors, or we have things like baby gates, and you can trap them in a certain area that you're comfortable with. So yeah, allow them to learn how to self-entertain. And it is a skill that takes practice. Some babies are naturally better at it than others, but it might be something that when you start out doing, they're only up for doing like 5 minutes of it. And you slowly, the more you do it, they'll learn to stretch out that time. And maybe you'll get 20, 30, 40 minutes of cleanup time while they're awake without them needing you to entertain them. All right, my final tip and things that have worked for me while cleaning with my toddler is to ask moms for their advice. So all the things that I've learned that work well for me have really been like gathered information from other mamas. And I'll ask them like, hey, how do you do this? Or I've read it in books or whatever. So just be a student of your role as a homemaker in this season of having littles, and ask other mamas. So if you've tried all the things in this video, maybe you found some things that worked, maybe some things didn't work for you. Ask other mamas if they have any additional advice. All the things that have worked for me have been gathered information or like by trial and error. So it's so nice to be able to learn from other people who have already gone through what you're going through. I love having a community of like women who are a little bit older than me or just a little bit further along in their family to go to, turn to, and ask like, hey, what did you do? It's super, super helpful. And then you don't have to do everything just by trial and error. You can actually get some, advice and try it out that's already been tested and worked for someone else. And that doesn't mean that everything that worked for someone else is going to work for you, but you can try it all out and see what does catch and what doesn't. And yeah, just use the wealth of knowledge around you to your advantage because you aren't in this alone. And raising a child really does take a village. Like the more community you have around you to help raise your child, the better, I think. So yeah, those are my tips for how I get stuff clean with a toddler. You just gotta dive in and do it. Know your reason behind why and let them help you, even if helping them or them helping you doesn't actually help, but it makes things take longer. Sometimes the end goal isn't just having everything be done in perfectly spotless clean, but having fun while you're cleaning and bonding and all those kind of things. So if you get the list accomplished, that's a bonus, but it's just about the process and those moments and serving your family the best you can. So don't put too much pressure on yourself, but hop into it. And it's going to take more time at the beginning cleaning with your toddlers than it would like cleaning without them while they're sleeping. But the fruit of taking the time to do those things, teach them those things, self-entertainment or hanging out with mama or any of those kind of things is going to be so worth it in the end. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and I hope it encouraged you and that you learned something from it. If you found this video helpful, useful, encouraging, any of the things, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. That helps more mamas see it so they can be encouraged by it as well. And if you haven't yet already, don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you guys in next week's video. Bye.